Today's lesson is solving cubic equations, which means we're going to be solving equations that contain x cubed. So our first equation will be x cubed equals 8. Now, x to the third means x times x times x equals 8. So I need to think of three numbers that are the same that when I multiply them together, I get 8. So this is a pretty easy one because 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So x in this case is 2. Now, to actually solve this equation using algebra, what we do is we take the cubed root of both sides. Now, when we have equations like x squared equals 4, the way to solve it was to take the square root of both sides. And that got us 2 and negative 2 as our answers. For the cubed root, or for x cubed, we actually take what's called the cubed root. And when that's the case, we put a little 3 inside this space on the little check mark on the square root. Put a little 3. That means cubed root. And we do that to both sides. The cubed root cancels out the cubed, and then the cubed root of 8 is 2. Now with cubed roots, we're only going to get one answer, where with square roots, we always got 2. With cube roots, there'll only be 1. Okay. Now, there is a cube root button on some calculators, and I'm going to show you on the card for today. There is an online scientific calculator that I added to the card. So if you click on that, and you could bookmark this, you will notice that right here, there is a cubed root key. So all we have to do is hit that key, and then we wanted the cubed root of 8, so we type in an 8, and then hit equals. And then you'll notice up here it says, can't really see it, up here it says the cubed root of 8 is 2, and 2 is the answer right here as well. So we hit this button first, and then the number we want the cubed root of. Now, if we move down the page to our next example, x cubed equals 27. So obviously our first move is going to be to take the cubed root of both sides of the equation. Cubed root cancels out the cubed, and when you do this on your calculator, the cubed root of 27 is 3. And that's because 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27. Now, bottom example, we have x cubed equals negative 27. So we're going to take the cubed root of both sides. And in this case, x is going to equal negative 3. And that's because negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 equals negative 27. So cubed roots, you can take the cubed root of negative numbers. And that's different than when we did the square roots, because remember, you can't take the square root of a negative number, but you can take cube roots. Now, in this situation, you'll notice it says 3x cubed equals 192. So what we would do first is divide both sides by 3. That cancels out the 3, and I get x cubed equals, and on my calculator I would take 192 divided by 3, and I get 64. And then to get rid of the cubed, I'm going to take the cubed root, which you could do on your calculator. And the cubed root of 64 is 4. And that's because 4 times 4 times 4 equals 64. There may be something added to the cubed root and multiplied to the cubed root. Again, we solve this just like before. We get rid of addition or subtraction first. So first I'm going to subtract 120 from both sides. That gives me 5x cubed equals 5,000. Then I will divide both sides by 5. I get x cubed is 1,000. Then I'm going to take the cubed root of 1,000, good morning, which will be 10.
I think, I don't know what outlet's in order.
I'll show you.
I think they were